be able to enhance your knowledge and skills. Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 3, messages.
Proceed.
Order number 4, petitions.
Proceed.
Order number 5, papers.
Honorable members, under that order number, we have one business which is going to be done on my behalf by Honorable Thomas Mutinda. Honorable Thomas Mutinda, or do we have a member of the Procedure and House Rules Committee? Honorable Nyawina. Honorable Nyawina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Jane Nyawina, nominated by Muungano Party. Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay the following paper on the table of the following, let me repeat. Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 11th August 2021. Report of Procedure and News Committee on amendment to standing orders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nyawira. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Again, honorable members, under this order number, we have one business to be transacted by Honorable Jane Nyawira.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, that aware standing orders are written loose under which legislative house conducts its business. Further aware that these standing orders regulate the way honorable members behave and how debates are organized, and that they are unique to the legislative body they govern. Informed that the Committee on Procedure and House Rules, as established under Standing Order number 187, is mandated to propose amendments on standing orders. Cognizant that under Standing Order number 226, the Procedure and Rules Committee may at any time propose amendments on standing orders. Aware that Standing Order 228 states that at least once in every term of assembly, not later than 6 months to the end of the term, the Procedure and House Rules Committee shall review the standing orders and make a report to the Assembly recommending the standing orders, if any, to be amended. Further, aware that this committee proposed amendments, received other proposals of amendments, considered them, and subsequently compiled a report. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give notice of motion that this Honorable House discusses and approves the report approves the report of the Committee on Procedure and House Rules on proposed amendment to standing orders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jane Nyawira. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 7, statements.
Proceed.
Order number 8, motion, approval of report of the Transport, Roads, Housing and Public Works Committee on status of Machakos County graders as at July 2021.
Honorable members, under this order number, we have one business to be transacted by Honorable Daniel Mbevi, Chairperson, Transport, Roads, Housing and Public Works Committee. Honorable Daniel Mbevi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Daniel Mbevi, MCA Mlolongo Syokimau Ward. Honorable Speaker, sorry. Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that aware that the County Assembly's oversight function is one of the cornerstones of democracy. Aware that oversight is a means for holding the county executive accountable for its actions and for ensuring that it implements policies in accordance with the laws and budget passed by the County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, acknowledging that Article 183, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, provides that the County Executive Committee shall provide the County Assembly with full regular reports on matters relating to the county. Further aware that Article 185, Sub-Article 3 states that the County Assembly, while respecting the principle of separation of powers, may exercise oversight over the County Executive Committee and any other county executive organs. Honorable Speaker, cognizant of the fact that Standing Order number 190, Sub-Article 5B, mandates sectoral committees to study the program and the policy objectives of the departments and the effectiveness of the implementation. Aware that the Committee on Transport, Roads, Housing and Public Works received a report on status of count graders from the Department of Transport, Roads and Public Works. Further aware that the committee conducted site visits to ascertain the status of the graders indicated in the report, held meetings with the County Executive Committee member and chief officer, and compiled a report. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that this Honorable House discusses and approves the Transport, Roads and Public Works report on status of Machakos County graders as at July 21st, July 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call upon Mheshimiwa Irene to second the motion.
Honorable Irene Mbevi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Irene Mbevi and the Vice Chair to the committee. I wish to second. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irene. Honorable Daniel, you may go ahead and read the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to read the report. Probably, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether I should start with the preface.
Start with the committee composition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And then from there, you go to terms of reference. After committee composition, you go straight to terms of reference. Then you continue from there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Committee composition. Honorable Speaker, the Transport, Roads, Housing and Public Works Committee currently has 13 members as listed below. Honorable Daniel Mbevi, Chairperson. Honorable Irene Mbevi, Vice Chairperson. Honorable Grace Mutwiwa, Member. Honorable Tariq Mulatya, Member. Honorable Caleb Mutiso, Member. Honorable Magdalene Dalana, Member. Honorable Margaret Mikali, Member. Honorable Patrick Etuku, Member. Honorable John Musiemi, Member. Honorable Cosmas Masesi, Member. Honorable Justus Kitengu, Member. And Honorable Pauline Munguti, Member. And finally, Honorable Winfred Mutua.
Terms of reference.
Terms of reference, yeah. Honorable Speaker, during a committee meeting held on 5th July 2021, members resolved to conduct a site visit to the Machakos County garage to ascertain the status of graders owned by the county government of Machakos. Site visit. Honorable Speaker, during the site visit done on 6th July 2021, the following matters were considered: the numbers of graders in each sub-county. 2, the current status of the graders, whether functional or not. 3, the current location of the graders. And 4, the number of graders owned by the county government. 4.0, committee findings. General overview. Honorable Speaker, during the site visit, members acquired information on the status of graders at Machakos County Garage, stock workshop, and a further inspection was done on graders in the 8 sub-counties, and below are the committee's observations. That 7 sub-counties, Machakos, Mavoko, Yatta, Kadhiani, Matungulu, Mwala, and Kangundo, were allocated 1 grader each to facilitate the grading of the rural roads, and Masinga sub-county had been allocated 2 graders. The status of the graders per sub-county were as shown below. In Kangundo sub-county, number 1, it was confirmed that, number 2, Mavoko sub-county, the grader was in good working conditions, though due for service. It was currently working at Mudhwani ward. 3, Mwala sub-county. This grader was reported to have been out of order for a long time. Issues reported were that the alternator, the starter, and the cutting edge were worn out. 4, Kadhiani sub-county. The grader had mechanical problems and was transferred to Machakos County Department of Transport for repairs. To date, the grader is still in Machakos County Garage. Number 5, Yatta sub-county. The grader had been working at Ekombe ward and later transferred to Matu ward. However, after 2 days at Matu ward, it developed mechanical problems and was currently at Matu police station. Issues reported were tie rod ends, ball joints, and the kingpins, which needs replacement. Number 6, Matungulu sub-county. The grader is in good working condition and is grading roads at Kyeleni ward. Number 7, Masinga sub-county. The committee was informed that Masinga sub-county had 2 graders, which were both grounded. These graded were allocated to Ndidhini and the Masinga divisions respectively. The grader at Ndidhini is grounded at Ndidhini ward and requires turning cycle and cylinder repairs. The other grader for Masinga division had been transferred to the county workshop for repairs and is still there up to date. Number 8, Machakos sub-county. The grader had mechanical issues and is grounded. Currently, it is at Machakos County Garage Workshop awaiting repairs. Number 50, committee observations. Honorable Speaker, on considering the above issues, the committee requested for written report from the Chief Officer, Department of Transport, Roads and Public Works, and below are the findings. Number 1, that all graders, though some were said to be working, still required funds to repair them. Number 2, that some graders were grounded for a unknown period. Number 3, that grader registration number GKA registration 571P was repaired at a cost of 3.6 million and then deployed to work at Kekesa, Kalukuni, and the Kithimani Voter Roads projects. These are the ongoing projects, Mr. Speaker. Number 4, that grader registration number GKA 571P, a different registration number from other county government graders. However, transfer had been initiated and the county government number plate will be fixed soon. Number 5, that the county government had a total of 19 graders, annexed below. Number 1, graders in working condition were 6. Number 2, grounded graders due to mechanical issues were 11. Number 3, obsolete graders were 2. Number 6, that in the list, though some graders were classified as project graders, they were used to level and maram roads before the projects were handed over to private contractors. The county government used our machinery and the staff to do works which did not need technical expertise and hand over the rest to private contractors, thus cutting costs on the whole projects. Number 7, the graders classified as others had mechanical issues and were grounded at county government garage, stock workshop awaiting repairs. Number 8, that the two categories of graders, project graders and others, were not allocated to any specific sub-count but could occasionally be used to grade roads where need be. That, number 9, that Masinga sub-count had been allocated 2 graders, but both of them had mechanical issues and grounded. Number 10, that some graders, though due for service, were still working. Number 11, that 2 graders which were classified as obsolete had a mechanical report done for disposal, and their identity and the current value was as below. A, KB 1940C was Kenya shillings 2,500,000. B, KVP 930 was totaling to Kenya shillings 1,500,000. The cost of repair of the above graders was high, and hence the exercise would not be viable since the machines were old and worn out. A mechanical report of the required repairs for the 2 graders is annexed in the report Annex 1 below. Number 11, that the department was in the process of leasing equipment, that is procuring from the National Youth Service, filed their letter reference number GMC/TR and PW/Fleet/Volume 1/163, dated on 27th July 2021, addressed to Director General, National Youth Service. Number 12, that the department outlined the following challenges in the context of count graders. A, the graders had to be driven long distances. However, the department was in the process of procuring a low-bed loader to enable the graders be varied from one place to another. B, that budget limitation led to cases of lack of fuel, repairs, and the servicing of graders. Challenge of cash flow was also outlined as key, especially where funds were needed for major repairs, e.g. service of the graders, tires, etc. Number 7, committee recommendations. Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends the following: that the department should ensure that proper financial planning is done to ensure that fuel does not run out during grading exercise. This would reduce situations where grading would be halted midway due to lack of fuel. Number 2, to ensure equitable grading program, a clear working schedule for the graders should be prepared. This should be done in consultation with the sub-count engineers in the specified sub-counties. Number 3, sub-count engineers should be facilitated in order to be able to handle minor repairs. 4, the committee recommends the department on the needs to fast-track the leasing, procuring of the equipment from National Youth Service, NYS, since it will address some of the challenges they were encountering. The committee recommends that the department leasing of the above National Youth Service graders be done on wet rate, but not on dry rate, to address the challenge of fuel. Number 5, that the department embarks on doing scheduled preventive maintenance of graders instead of the current situation where curative is the norm. Number 6, that the committee recommends full implementation of motion passed by the House on 15th May 2019 on adoption of tendering methods to grade roads from the financial year 2019-2020 onwards. Further, the committee recommends for a consultative meeting between the department and the member of the assembly for smooth running of the grading program. Number 8, conclusion and acknowledgement. Honorable Speaker, good infrastructure facilitates trade, economic development, and improvement in the quality of life, especially in Kenya, where roads carry over 80% of passenger and commodity transport. Roads are one of the modes of transport of people and goods and are used to interconnect other modes as well as provide access to basic social services. Honorable Speaker, the committee is appreciating the support accorded by the Office of the Honorable Speaker and that of the Clerk of the County Assembly during this exercise. Further, the committee acknowledges the support given by the committee secretariat. Honorable Speaker, it is my pleasure on behalf of the committee to table the report on status of graders in Machakos County in this Honorable House for adoption. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Daniel Mbevi, for that report we read. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this Honorable House discusses and approves the Transport, Roads and Public Works report on status of Machakos County graders as of July 2021. Honorable members, you may contribute on the motion. Honorable Thomas Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Thomas Mutinda, representing Wamunyu Ward. And Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking the chair and his committee for this good job done. And let me over say that, Mr. Speaker, as you are aware that down there in our wards, the issue of grading of roads is a challenge. And Mr. Speaker, I would wish to say that this grading is done by the county government. And Mr. Speaker, it's a matter of buy or make decisions where you undertake to audit yourself and see the existing internal capacity for you to make. And if you are not able to make, then you have no choice but to buy. Mr. Speaker, this House has been urging the county government to go the contract way, to outsource such functions so that we may have timely services. But because of the existing graders, which you have heard the status they are in, some are grounded, others are in projects, you find that the wards share the graders. Some wards, like Muala, where I come from, have one grader for 6 wards. Others, like these Machakos, have one grader for 7 wards. So you find for the grader to go around and offer services to all the wards, it takes a longer time. And remembering that some periods there are rains, like April, November, December. So you find the months remaining to do grading are very few. Once now there comes that challenge of July, August, September, when money or budgets have not been uploaded, then you find we do very little for a year, Mr. Speaker. So I think it's the high time the county government tries the contracting way, the outsourcing way, so that we have contractors who can deliver within the period from now to December, before the rains come, so that every ward can get some service and we have our roads fixed. Even the categories of roads in our wards are differ. Some can be done manually, by manual shaping by our people, and they get paid. Mr. Speaker, the challenge also which we saw came in the servicing. These graders, sometimes they lack only oil, and you find the grader stops. So the queue continues to wait. I think it's the high time now we checked that are we going to continue making or we are going to outsource. But still, I appreciate the efforts by the department for also trying to check whether they can write letters to the National Youth Service and get graders from there. Maybe that can take us a step higher and find that we get the services. And I think this house should see to it that it helps the transport committee to fast track that process. Even if it means only the general oversight committee, so that we may track the success of that program. So that if the internal capacity is increased, then obviously, Mr. Speaker, I think we'll have done something before the rains come. It's the high time that we can start now, because now I think funds might be flowing from the treasury, and we should be able to do within the 3 months, every ward get some kilometers of roads. So, Mr. Speaker, I think it's a good gesture, and still a lot can be achieved before time goes on. So, Mr. Speaker, I support and say that it's a good report, and that should be coming to this house so that we may see. I've seen a grader here, KVP. That grader belongs to the defunct municipalities, and I think the KVPs were there in 1978. So such a machine working, it might be consuming a lot of county funds, and it's good that such equipments are disposed, and maybe if there's need, others are acquired. So I think it's a good report. I support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kisini.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me also to contribute to this report. My name is Honorable Robert Kisini, representing the people of the river. I want to thank the committee through the chairman for such a good report, which enlightens and which shows us the shortcomings, more especially on this program of graders. Mr. Speaker, I want to go to the recommendation number 1, whereby they have said the department should ensure that proper financing program is done to ensure that fuel does not run out during the exercise. Yes, Mr. Speaker, the House will agree with me that most of the times, even when these graders come at your ward, there is not enough fuel to run out throughout that exercise. Number 2, the repairs, and more especially the minor repairs. There are no funds to do or to facilitate those minor repairs. E.g., and as I have mentioned in the report, you'll find that that tractor has a tire burst, and the area MCA will be forced to maybe repair that tire. You'll find that there is no lunch, which is given, or allowance, which is given to these people. Maybe the graders, the drivers who are manning those graders, and the cashiers. We also chip in for that. The MCS will also chip in for that. You'll also see that there are breakdowns, the major breakdowns happen when those tractors are maybe working on at your ward. And more especially, at times, you might be forced to repair. I don't know what it is called, but I want to call it the djembe, the djembe. So I don't know, Mr. Speaker, how we can translate that one in English. That's more whatever, which cuts across. Cutting edge. So, Mr. Speaker, it comes as a burden to the MCA. It comes as if he's the one who is supposed to finance that project. So, Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of shortcomings to that effect. The other thing I want to point out is that because of that lack of fuel, because of lack of those minor repairs, you will find that it is allowed that people can come together of a certain area and fuel the tractor so that maybe the grading program can take place. I know it has happened. If the MCA is not fueling, people organize themselves and if they fuel so that that service can be done, which is against what is supposed to be done. Mr. Speaker, I also want to go to recommendation number 6, whereby that the committee recommends for implementation of the motion passed by the House on 15th May 2019. We passed this motion that we sublet or we contract this exercise because we saw all those shortcomings. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, what happened. And then on top of that, apart from the grading, we are also request for marams. We also request for marams. Most of the roads, even if they are cut, even if they are graded, there are no marams. And when the rains come, it just becomes mud and impassable. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to say thank you to the committee for the recommendations, which are a true case, and ask the House to see what we can do so that we can see to it that this program takes place and it benefits the electorates. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kisini. Honorable Tariq Mulatya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Tariq Mulatya Mwema, elected from Masinga Central. I stand to support this report and make just 2 or 3 comments on it. Honorable Speaker, I'm a member of this committee. That's why probably I was waiting for most of the members to contribute. At least I can say a word or 2. Honorable Speaker, you'll bear with me that, and honorable members of this House, that this department, it's very important to our people. And if there is a department touching our lives, this is one of the departments. And Honorable Speaker, you'll appreciate that we are doing our best. We are trying to engage the executive. We are trying to come up with the best programs to fit our people when it comes to making our roads. But most of them, they are in vain, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with the committee recommendations number 4. The committee recommends the department on the roads, department on the needs to fast-track the leasing or procuring of the equipment from National Youth Service, since it will address some of the challenges they were encountering. The committee recommends that the department leasing of the above National Youth Service grinders be done on wet rate but not dry rate to address the challenge of fuel. I think this is the best way to go about it. Honorable Speaker, all of us, we have seen these grinders in our areas. And I brought a motion in floor of the House when we were in Mashinani at Mbevi. And has happened from the executive to implement this motion. When these grinders, they come to us, we are the ones to fuel them, to repair them. We are the ones to give accommodation to the people operating with the machines. And you know cannot work this way. So, Honorable Speaker, in this House, I recommend, I'm a member of this committee, chaired by my friend and brother, Honorable Mbevi. He is doing his best. Just the other day, he invited the CEC with all the officers, his department. But everything we talk, we just leave it on that table. Nothing is going to happen. I recommend in the floor of this House that we advance our approach
to this department. And Honorable Speaker, if you allow, let all the members, the committee of the whole house, come and face this department. If you are not going to take this direction, Honorable Speaker, nothing will happen, because we've been engaging them. They have been telling us that they have fuel, the cards are there, but there is nothing happening. The last time I saw Grenda in my ward, I think it's a year and 3 months ago. So you can tell me there's 2 rain seasons in between here. You can tell how my roads look like. I'm scared most of the times to go to my people, because they'll be asking me, Mheshimiwa, where did you pass to arrive here? It's really embarrassing. So I urge this house to call this particular department in the committee of the whole of this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tariq Mulatya. Honorable Nick.
Thank you, Mr. Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Nicholas from Katangi Ward. First, I want to congratulate the Committee of Transport for the good job they have done, because the report is very comprehensive and very well written. We have earned challenges of these county machineries, not only the grinders, even other machines like the shovels, even the machines for grading, the machines for drilling water. I remember, for example, if I may dwell on that, when members were given the first 10 million projects, there were balls that were to be drilled. But because of these county machines being broken down and not operational, some members have not been able to achieve that. So as my colleague and Mheshimiwa Mulatya said, actually the next assembly, we need to write a letter to the department to attend here in the whole house. The chief officer should be here, because I've seen they wrote a letter on 27th of July, 2021, to Director General NYS, that is National Youth Service, and we don't know what is the response from the NYS or what is the status. So we want to go the NYS route, because the county machines are really letting us down. I remember one time I bought tubes in my ward worth more than 7 shillings. I have the receipt, and nobody bothered to refund me that money. So I request, Honorable Speaker, that you make sure the next assembly, we write a letter to the chief officer and whoever is concerned about these machines, that we want to go the NYS route, the wet rate, so that we can be able to do these roads. Because time is not on our side. The rains will be here by end of October or maybe early November. That will go all the way up to January. From January 2022, civil servants will be retiring, or else they're resigning in February. So basically there is nothing much we can do. If we cannot do anything between now and November, whereby we have barely 2 months. From December, it will be rain season. January, rain season. From February, nothing much we can do. It will be campaign period. People will be asking you, Mheshimiwa, why you didn't do this road for 5 years? Now is the time you are remembering us. It's too late, too little. So let's have these machines working, or else let's have the machines from NOS that we can be able to lease. At least we see, at least each sub-count can get like 2 graders. Then from there we can be able to see. Even we have the county lorries, the tippers. Sometimes they have issues. Even when they get a tire burst, a puncture, no money. The drivers, no money. The sub-county engineers, no money. It always goes to the Mheshimiwa because of the shame. People will ask, Mheshimiwa, machine imelala hapa, the machine is grounded just because of a tire burst. You end up spending 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. By the end of the day, you end up spending a lot of money. So, Mr. Speaker, make sure that we finish this issue. Let the letter be written today, and the next committee of the whole house, we want to see those guys from the transport and the minister, or else the chief officer, to be here to address that issue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kyoko. Kalumu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today's report Also, looks like another one which was here another day. Mr. Speaker, let me congratulate my friend, Honorable Mbevi, for giving us another report which is very clear on what is happening on this department, which is very critical on the well-being and also coming back of everybody who is elected in this house. Mr. Speaker, you look at the report on the committee observations, and you go to number 6, you find that, let me read very clear, that in the list, some graders were classified as project graders. They were used to level Maram roads before the projects were handed over to the private contractors. I am on that. I will dwell on that, Mr. Speaker. Why am I on that, Mr. Speaker? It is because when we pass budget here, Mr. Speaker, we see some roads being contracted. And when they are contracted, Mr. Speaker, you find that again this equipment, the graders, the tippers, the shovels, are again on the projects. You ask yourself again, Mr. Speaker, is this road contracted or is being done by the county? And who is doing it? Are we paying twice? Because one, a report will come back to this assembly and show that this road was contracted. This road has a contractor who is doing that road. And again, you'll find that county equipment is being used again on the same road. You ask us, what is happening? Are we blind that we cannot see? Are we that fearful that we cannot speak over the same thing, Mr. Speaker? Because if a road is given to a contractor, it should remain as a contracted project. There should be no any other machine which is given to that road. And that machine should go and do another work in another place. So there is double standards here, Mr. Speaker, which is being applied. And this is the time, this is an eye-opener which has been brought here by Honorable Mbevi. That there are machines which are project. You ask yourself which project's this one. At the same time, you also find that that project was given and the contractor is being paid on the same. Mr. Speaker, I would also want to speak about what we call public machine, county machine fueling, which is giving us shame. One time, I told my people from Kithimani ward that these machines are available for the public to fuel. Because the county money, which we allocate in this house and give to the department, they say in each and every financial year that we allocate money, there is 250,000 for each ward for fuel. And every time a round goes to your ward, you only use 50,000. That reflects to, because the machine consumes 10,000 a day, you find that you only have 5 days. And the work for 5 days, Mr. Speaker, our wards are very expensive. That the 5 days is just a drop in the ocean. So you find that it is at the edge of the ward, and the other edge remains without being graded, the roads being graded. So you find that when you go to that side, you are told, you are not working for the people. Yet, Mr. Speaker, some money has been sent to that department. What is happening? Mr. Speaker, our request is this. when machines are grounded like this report which is telling us, what are the ways of trying to improve on repairs and maintenance so that we can achieve for Mwananchi? Because Mwananchi is paying taxes and is waiting for the services. And Mwananchi, when you grade 5 days of 5 days road grading, you find that it is nothing, Mr. Speaker. It is nothing. I know you know, because one day I was in your ward and I heard people claiming the same. So what can be done is this. Again, another problem is this. A grader comes in your ward, it comes to the operator. The operator is staying in MACHAKOS and working in Yatta. So he has to travel from morning. He has to reach in Kithimani at around 11 o'clock. When it starts work at around 11 o'clock, at 3 o'clock he wants to return back to MACHAKOS. And the following day he tells you there is no fuel. So just compare the hours of working. It is just barely 4 hours. Barely 4 hours, because this person has to go for lunch, because he's a human being. So the performance also of the grading services is very poor. Reason because an operator is not staying on the station of work. That operator comes without interest. You are the person as an MCA to buy for him lunch, to give him a ticket to come tomorrow morning. If you don't give, you will not come. So you're just there by the mercies of that person. If he doesn't come, then there is no work which goes on. Mr. Speaker, this is the county we are in, the county number 1. That is the county number 1, Machakos County, whereby you can work for 4 hours and achieve enough roads grading for the people who elected you to go and bring services to them. Mr. Speaker, the services of these graders needs to follow that motion which was brought by Honorable Mulatya the other day. And I don't know what happened. Up to now, nothing has been happening, because it is no one's money. It's nobody's money. This money belongs to the people of Machakos, and anything that gives them value for their money should be done. If outsourcing the machines from NYS would improve the services of roads grading to Mwananchi, then do it. Let's have it, like tomorrow, like today, if it is possible. Without much ado, I don't want to speak so much because I'm annoyed. I am annoyed because of the services we are giving to Mwananchi, yet he is expecting too much, and the money is there, and everything is there possible to give Mwananchi what he wants. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Josephat Kasyoka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Josephat Kasyoka. I represent Kyeleni Ward. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the committee for coming up with a clear picture of what is happening with our graders. These graders, if they were to be used or to be doing what they are supposed to be doing, I think no member would be making any complaint. But the graders have problems. Now the problems is not the graders. It is the management of that ministry. So it is high time. Members, we call the
chief officer, roads, to come and tell us what is happening. I've seen here when number 6, Matungulu sub-county, the grader was in Kyeleni. I agree it was in Kyeleni. But when you hear, Honorable Speaker, a grader is in a ward, you should know that that member is using his own money, not money from the ministry or the department which is supposed to do the repairs and pay allowances to the operators. The other thing is about the services. These graders are not serviced. So if you have a grader in your ward, you have a problem. Now, since we have to use those graders, because nothing on the road has been done since we came here, it is only through the graders, honorable members, that we are doing the little we are doing in our wards. But to have a grader in your ward is very costly. Mr. Speaker, some graders have operators who are very unfriendly. We know these are officers employed by county government, but when they come to your ward, they want you to give them money to go and sleep, to take lunch, take supper. Now, believe you me, if you don't give them, that's the end of that grader. It won't work again. The other thing is about graders being used by contractors. I've never seen this. Now, I would like to hear from the CEO. Why are they giving some contractors, graders, which are supposed to be working in the wards free? Because you can have a grader, like the one in Kyeleni now. It has been borrowed more than 3 times. I know one time I gave it to my colleague, Honorable Kisini. He had a function. But the other times, it has been taken away from Kyeleni without even being told where they're taking the grader. Now, after doing my follow-up, the operators tell me we have been solving a small problem to a contractor. So, to me, there is a connection between the graders, our contractors, now not all of them, some of them. So, honorable members, I don't know what we are supposed to do. I think the chief officer, when he comes, we should be ready. We can even vote him a vote of no confidence to the chief officer. Because what is happening in the fields, what is happening in our wards, it is pathetic. We are now going to the last year, and nothing has been done. So,
Point of information.
One information, Honorable Mulatya.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform my colleague and my friend that it will be in order, because I can see Honorable Kasyoka is agreeing with me that we call the department here. There is one mistake we normally do, and I noticed that mistake when we were doing the report. When the clerks prepare the questionnaire, and these people, they get to know the questionnaire, they come here prepared. they will tell you what you want to hear because they already know. So I wanted to inform honorable members that if we are going to do it, let us not prepare the questionnaire. Let them come and meet honorable members.
Noted. Go ahead, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Member. So, Honorable Speaker, I was trying to say, if the Chief Officer comes here, we'll be ready. We don't need even papers to ask questions, because what is happening in our fields is not good, and some of us will lose their seats because of giving the people doing nothing to our electorate. So I wish to thank the committee. They have done a good job. Now the committee has been doing good, because the other time when we were in Kola, you had a report about how money is being used in that department. So we have so many things to know from that department. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Johana Munyao.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Johana Munyao, representing the great people of Mutituni. I stand to support the report by the Committee on Transport. Mr. Speaker, I am a fresh victim, because as we speak here, one grader is lying in my ward for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mr. Speaker, it has become a shame, because I want to admit that I worked in that department some times ago, and the intention of having to procure such graders was to supplement the works which are supposed to be procured through contractors. And the arrangement was, we know the mathematics which go with contracting. So we were supposed to do the grading and then contract to do the concrete works. Installation of culverts, maybe at times maraming, and that was going to save the county a lot of funds. I want to say that such a very nice arrangement is turning out to be a shame for this county, because one, the graders are ever in a very bad condition. It is rare to find a grader working for a month continuously. And even in our own private businesses, if a tool is not serving you right, the option of even replacing portrays the wisdom of a person who is ready to perform. I want to say that the issue of recalling graders, I am speaking as a representative of Machakos sub-county. I want to admit here that we are the most hit, because we are very close to the headquarters. The grader for Machakos sub-county doubles also as the pool grader for the local running and the other projects which are being done within the headquarters. So it is very rare to find a grader working for 2 weeks without being recalled. It beats logic why we cannot have graders in good condition, each with a file monitored right from even the way it is operated by whoever is assigned to the grader. We should be able to track even the frequencies of breakages and find out whether it is the incompetences of some of these operators or whether it is deliberate, or whether it is the fault of the machines. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we ought to be a bit more organized as a county, and I want to support that we invite the chief officer here and his team so that we can also get to know why we cannot have a well-organized department and why the grading and other works, road works, cannot be carried out as budgeted for and also as planned. I want, Mr. Speaker, to say that we pass budgets here and we provide for even allowances for upkeep of some of these officers. I have also been able to pay for accommodation for some of them, provide lunch, and it is very clear that we should be able to facilitate our people to work. We should not subject them to very unfriendly, inhuman conditions and yet expect performance from them. So I want to end my submission by supporting the report and also supporting that we invite the chief officer here to come and shed some more light why the programs are never a success. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Irene Mbevi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Irene Mbevi, a member and the vice chair to this committee. I wish to applaud my chair for the elaborate report and the committee as a whole. Mr. Speaker, sorry. Mr. Speaker, there's a saying that says that people who know better do better. And knowing better and refusing to do it ain't better at all. And we already know that roads are everything. And roads are good, they provide good infrastructure, they facilitate trade, economic development, and improvement in the quality of life. We know that roads will benefit from Mama Mboga even up to the great business person. So it's important that the county government implements the motions and the budgets that are given out from this house. The first function of the executive is to implement what the county assembly passes. And I'm not sure if we've been able to see any implementation so far. So I think it's the high time that we stop being moved by our emotions, but by the promises that the governor and executive gave to the people of Machakos as a county, because development will benefit the whole county, not an MCA per se. Whether you elected him or not, because we all come from different parties. And I believe if you have children from different mothers, they're all your children. And they ought to benefit from what your own blood child deserves. So mine is to urge the executive, led by the governor, to execute what the county, the assembly passes, because the elected MCAs are the threat. And sometimes we bring change due to the threat that is on the table. The threat in our case, especially for the elected members, is 2022. And you'll be told you didn't do this, you didn't give us roads, yet in your manifesto you had it. So for me, it would be best for this financial year, because we have a budget, that we do justice, and whatever hardships or change that circumvents development or change, we can overcome that and do justice and bring development as it ought to be. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the report.
Thank you. May the mover of the motion respond, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Daniel Mbevi, MCA Mlolongo Syokimau Ward, also Chair Roads. First, I wish to congratulate and appreciate the recommendations that have been made by fellow honorable members. And I'm happy that the way I'm feeling as Chair Roads, fellow honorable members are also feeling what I'm feeling. Because sometimes you fail to understand as chair, you don't know whether to resign or what, because every now and then we have a meeting, we just have the same things, repeat the same things, and they are never done. And I want to echo what honorable members have just said. Number one, what Mheshimiwa Mulatya has just indicated. Let's not give a questionnaire to these executive members because, number one, they have already read our minds and they come prepared to tell us what we want to hear. And probably, my thinking, they might be having the solutions with them. But if we just direct them what we want, they have to stick to what we have requested for. Because if I look at their qualification, the way we relate, the way we have our meetings, they are qualified for that. I don't know where the problem is. And maybe because of the questionnaire style, they just stick to what we want to hear. Probably they might be having something to tell us why they don't perform. Because according to me, Chair, the way we talk, discuss issues, there is a problem. It is not them. And it is important that I also support the meeting with the committee of the whole house, with the executive, because they must tell us where the problem is. We pass budgets. Once they bring the budgets, we pass what they have brought us. Later, in our meeting, they tell us, our proposal in the budget was this, but you gave us this. We don't know where the budgets are changed. So I think it is important we have a committee of the whole house, invite them, and allow them to tell us where the problem is, because there is a problem. There must be a problem, because the graders are there, money is there, we give them budgets, so they must tell us where the problem is themselves. Lastly, I would also comment on the motion we passed. As chair, I saw this problem as chair of roads, and I communicated to the fellow honorable members, and I told them, unless we get to contracting, we will not get anywhere. I brought a motion, we passed, it has never been implemented. I don't know why, Mr. Speaker. I stand to be guided because I think whatever we say here has to be followed by the executive. The other issue is on us being here in the last financial year, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to development, even to our electorates, actually they term roads as development. They don't even have much to think about other things. Our performances as honorable members is based on roads. So I think it is important we have this meeting to see if we can have some of our honorable members getting back to this house, Mr. Speaker. Our roads are not in they are in bad shape. Like in my case, I have a grader which has already come. It came yesterday. And unfortunately, it has rained. And I have 1 week to do that grading. Now, 3 days will be wasted. We will not be operational for the 3 days. So I have 4 days with that 4-hour operations because of the issue of the operators coming from far. So what will happen in my ward? Is there any much that will be done in my ward? So I think it's important we have that committee of the whole house, Mr. Speaker, see what we can do, go the hiring way, because the monies are there. Let's see what we can do. But hopefully, I think the chief officer and the waziri will tell us the way forward, because probably once they let us know where the problem is, probably, Mr. Speaker, also the problem might be with some of us. We don't know. We don't know where the problem is. It might be some of us as honorable members are blocked to others. So it's important we have that meeting with the committee of the whole house. We deliberate on this, because much as we are here, like myself, Daniel Mbevi, I would wish to get back to this house, Mr. Speaker. And unless I also perform and make roads to my people, there is no way I will have to go home, Mr. Speaker. And I will not complain. But if I go home, having done what I was supposed to do to my electorate, I'll have no regret. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank honorable members for their deliberations, and I wish to say that I look forward to having that committee of the whole house with the extent, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Daniel Mbevi. I now put the question that this Honorable House discusses and approves the Transport, Roads and Public Works report on status of Machakos County graders as of July 2021. As many as other opinions say ayes.
Ayes.
As many as the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, before you conclude, I just want to echo some of the sentiments which you honorable members have put before the House, which are very critical. We've talked about the issue of having graders which are grounded, many of them grounded. I've seen 11 graders are grounded. And we have 2 graders for projects which are working. You will never find these 2 graders which are for projects not working. But the graders which are supposed to be working in the wards, honorable members, are grounded. What is the purpose of contracting work if it's not grading? You grade a road for a contractor. That is the most difficult part of the work. And then now, you give him the road to put maram on a graded road service. And then, if you look at the rates, I just want you to look at the rates. The rates the contractor is being paid are for grading and maraming. Yet the grading has been done by our graders. It does not make sense. And that is the reason why you find that an honorable member here said it is to some specific contractors whom we all know and we are all aware of. That cannot be allowed, honorable members, because if we continue having members or contractors making money with county equipment, and then the rest of you are not getting our roads graded, you will end up going home or not being re-elected while some people grow rich. And as a result of that, they themselves might get re-elected. So it is important for us to be able to look at those things. Machakos sub-county, where I come from, 1 grader, 7 wards. 1 grader, 7 wards. Even if we say a grader is going to be in a ward 1 week, before it goes around, it is minimum 8 weeks, 2 months. And that is when it is working every single day. Bring about the issues we've had about breakages and all this. We only get 3 wards done every season. We'll be lucky if between now and October, we get 3 wards. By the time it moves from Mutituni and goes to Muia, where it is bound now to stay for the rest of the period. So people like me do not expect to see any grader until after the new year. So, and at the same time, you are being told there are graders which are for projects. So I think that is something which we cannot be allowed. Leasing of equipment is something which has been talked about over and over again. I've heard them talking about wet rate versus dry rate. This is also something you need to look at very, very critically. Wet rate versus dry rate. Wet rate means they fuel. NYS fuels and gives you the grader when it is fueled. What dry rate means they give you the grader and you fuel it yourself. What rate will be the best rate? But my question is, you need to look at the two very critically. Because with 100,000 shillings, you know you can fuel a grader for 7 days. And if that, or 10 days. And if that grader is a working grader, you might end up finding that getting it on dry rate and you fueling it, if your car has money, might be cheaper and more efficient than the wet rate. Because the wet rate, again, also depends on whether NYS themselves will have the what? Will have the fuel. They are also leasing to you and expecting money from the same government where we are also getting money from. Remember, NYS is funded by the central government, just like we are funded by the same government. So you might get a wet rate, they bring you the grader, and they tell you now to wait for them to get fuel. So we will need to look at those two clearly when they come here. And I am, based on the report which has been read before this House, I am actually directing the table clerk and the clerk of that committee to summon the chief officer to appear before the General Oversight Committee in the next 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, we need to meet with the chief officer for roads to appear before the General Oversight Committee. I have my reasons. Yeah, the reason why I'm saying the chief officer, when you call the chief officer is the accounting officer, he'll come with everybody. I'm talking about the CEC, the chief officer, everybody in that department. They come here. There is no need for us to give them a heads up as to what we are asking them, because honorable members, you have heard all the grievances which are here is what they need to answer when they are sitting before the General Oversight Committee. We have given them budgets. If MIS is now operational, the system is up. The controller of budget has said Machakos is one of the counties which complied. We passed our budget within time. So there should be no reason whatsoever why now we cannot be able to go ahead and do our gradings, our contracting, and our leasing, whichever method you're going to use, to ensure that our people get quality work from this. So, Chair, please, let's follow up and ensure that we organize that meeting, General Oversight Committee. The letter should be written early enough. I would be suggesting if that letter could go tomorrow and sit with the chair and agree on a date. Put the date 2 weeks from now so that they don't say it was short notice. We want to give them a time when we know we've given you for 2 weeks for you to prepare and come and be able to meet with honorable members to discuss this very weighty issue. Thank you very much, honorable members. And with that, the House is adjourned to resume again on Tuesday, the 17th day of August, 2021 at 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.